And now we can start UVing the body. So I'm going to start by cutting off the arms and legs. I know that sounds brutal, but it's what we got to do. So for the arms and legs are going to prove a little bit of a challenge because the hands and the feet are such a complicated shape. But I think we can manage. We may have to cut the hands off and the feet off and do them separately, but in some cases you can get away without doing that. But I'm going to start just by cutting the arms and make sure you cut them in the same area. I suppose it doesn't matter too much because we are just going to just mirror it over. And then we can do the legs, try to get them in the same area as well. And I did the head kind of, I did the head a specific way or separately because I want to keep it separate, and I want to make it a little bigger in the UV space because looks like that's everything. I want to keep it a little bigger in UV space. That way I can make it have a little bit more texture resolution, which is going to be important when it comes to texturing. The face, the head is always going to have a lot more detail in it than the rest of the body, so it's okay to make that bigger than everything else. I think that might be it, and I'll kind of explain more about that when we get to it, but I'm probably going to cut the neck and kind of put that with the head. So let's cut those and see if we got those off. Yep. And move those to the side. Now, what I'm saying about the head is that we're going to make that a little bit bigger in the UV space. So that's a higher resolution than the rest of the body because you always have a lot more detail on the head. Whereas, you know, you may have a little bit of detail on like the fingernails and things like that, but that's not really like a prime point of focus. The face is always a prime point of focus. So I want to do the neck and kind of put that with the head. But I want to I think about like where his shirt is going to be, and I want to do it in a way where I'm hopefully like hiding the seam a little bit. So I'm going to try and cut in an area that I hope will like hide the seam a little bit, because even if I'm painting in a 3D painter like Mudbox or something like that, you will still see a seam if it's bigger, because you're going to be seeing a seam between something that's high resolution and lower resolution. So you have to be really careful about how you approach that. But I think that's probably good, what I have there. And then I can just go polygons, cut UV edges. And we can probably get away with just making a seam right down the back and unfolding that. Polygons, cut UV edges. And let's see if that unfolds the way I want it to. Not really. So, I mean, it kind of does, but let's try using the grab tool and smoothing it first. So that's kind of more along the lines of what we're looking for. Just doing a lot of smooth there. So then maybe try the unfold. So that's a little bit more along the lines of what I was thinking about. So I'm going to take that for now and just put that down here. With the head, because I want this to be pretty much the same resolution as the head. And now as far as the torso goes, I can kind of treat that the same way I treated the shirt and just cut it into two pieces. So to do that, I want to cut it, I'll cut it along those lines and try to pick that same line. On this side too. And then again, I only want those edges that are selected in the torso, so what I can do is just control and deselect them everywhere else that I have them, in the legs and in the head. And then I can do right click polygons, cut UV edges, and hopefully those will, well, they won't move off because I need to cut it up here as well. So I need to pick a line here and try to pick that same line over here and cut those. And I also need to pick a line down here. It might be a little difficult to do. I can probably just pick that one right there. Probably be good. So cut that, and now I should be able to move them off separately. Yeah. So I'll flip that one so it's oriented correctly, and then we'll try doing an unfold. Like that. I'll do the same thing to this guy. So sometimes weird stuff like that can happen depending on where you're sort of starting, in which case you just kind of have to, we're going to make this symmetrical again anyway, so I don't care if it's too much rotated, but sometimes you may just have to go in and reorganize things a little bit. So that's the torso. That unfolded pretty easily. I don't see any errors. Everything looks pretty good. So for the meantime, we'll just move that to the side to down here somewhere. Now, let's do the leg. So again, I'm only going to do the left leg because we'll duplicate it over. And just to be on the safe side, I'm going to start by cutting the foot off, and maybe I'll reattach it. I'm not sure yet. So let's give that a cut right above the ankle. And again, I'm only doing one side, so I'm not worried about the other side at this point. So then I have the foot cut off, and for the leg, I'm just going to double click and select that edge loop on the inside. And again, I want to make sure my pivot point is right there in the center, so I know I don't have any edges on any of these other guys selected, so that's a good thing. So I'll cut that, and then we'll try to unfold. So that unfolded pretty good. Probably need to make it, scale it up so it matches the size of the torso. I think his leg is probably about, it's about the length of his torso, maybe a little bit longer. So something like that is good. Okay, and then the foot. Now the foot is going to pose a difficult problem because we got all these toes. So typically what I like to do with the foot is try to figure out a way to make it either almost like a, hard to say, like a taco. So imagine a tortilla taco that you fold up. We want to flatten it out, so we want to unfold it. So if we think of the foot like that, we'll know that we need to either have this side be the center of that taco or this side be the center. And I think we'll make the pinky toe the center because that's going to be a little bit, that edge being, or that seam being on the inside will be a little bit less noticeable. So we'll try to start by selecting these edge loops. All around here. And then I just want to try to deselect the ones on this side. Maybe up to that point right there. So then I'll cut that, and then I need to have this go up here as well, because otherwise it's going to unfold weird because we will have just a hole there. So I'll cut that one, and then we'll try to do an unfold and see if we can get that to work without it going crazy. Not too bad. Again, you want to zoom in really close here and make sure that nothing is overlapping. Like we do have a little part there where the toes are overlapping. So I need to go in. I'll need to go in manually and just select those and kind of move them away from each other a little bit. And again, this is such a sort of inconspicuous area of the model that there's not going to be a lot of detail shown here. So you don't have to concern yourself too much with something like that. But that should be good. And then if I want to, I could try to reconnect the foot, but I think I'll be okay without trying to reconnect the foot, and I can just kind of leave it there for now. Maybe scale it up because it is going to be a little bit bigger. Okay, and then we'll do one of the arms, and that's going to be pretty much the same way. We'll start by cutting the hand off. Make sure that goes all the way around. And then we'll cut it probably on this bottom edge here along the hand. Again, just deselect what you don't want to be cut. And we can take this guy all the way to that edge loop right there, cut it. And that should come off easily, and then we can try doing an unfold. Again, it freaks out, makes it a little bit smaller, but that's okay. We can scale it up, and later we can apply like a checker pattern or something to make sure that those are all the same texture size. And then the hand, I'm going to treat the same way that I did the feet. So I'm going to try and figure out, I probably want it to I probably want the thumb to be the center, so I'm going to need to try and get that edge loop there. So that worked out pretty well. Take that all the way down to that seam. And then we can take it up here. So there'd be a natural seam there where the thumbnail would be, so we can just do that. And then we can cut that. And hopefully our unfold will work as well as it's been working. And we get something like that. So that just need to zoom in again and make sure that there's no crazy overlapping or anything. All right, so we've got the body UV'd out. I'm gonna just do another quick video about how to mirror everything and kind of finish up the UVs for the body, and then hopefully we'll get to either modeling the accessories, or we'll get into texturing this guy, or bringing him into Mudbox maybe and sculpting a little bit or something like that. So